All right, everyone. Thank you for joining. This is another amazing day. You are making this day amazing because of who you are and the effort that you put here. The fact that you are up here with us, it shows that you have some desires to go ahead and make it happen. Usually, I invite Philip. He's a mortgage agent specializing in investing and just name it, anything with mortgage, to come and give us some update. Now, we started another year, 2025, and he really, really wants to know what direction the market is going, what's happened, and what's going to happen. It's always good to keep us up to date with what's going on. So, without further ado, I ask Philip to take over, give us a few minutes of what's happening in the market with the mortgage. Go ahead, Philip.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for inviting me back, Ashton. And firstly, thank you for everyone for joining the call today. So, where we want to start is obviously preparing you for the conversations you're going to be having with your home buyers and even sellers. What we're finding, and I'm sure you can appreciate on your side of the fence, if you will, is that sellers are a bit hesitant. They think that as rates come down, that miraculously their home values are going to spike. And I'm sure a lot of the conversations you're having is around when to list to ensure that the sale is as profitable as possible. So speaking from a perspective of interest rates and what's currently happening in the market, I want you to be able to understand what we look at in the mortgage industry, things that we look at as drivers to impact and to forecast where the market is headed. So you can speak not with opinion, but with specificity when you're having these client conversations to essentially project what we expect to happen and what actions need to be taken. Okay. So what you want to do is everyone on their either mobile device or on the computer, what you want to be looking at as second you log into your day every day is what's called the 5-year bond yield. So just Google Canada 5-year bond yield, and you want to bring up that chart. So if you want to toggle to a different screen while we're having this conversation, it might help to visualize it a bit. But what you want to do is you want to look at the trend. What's happening in the last 5 days? What's happening in the last 30 days? Because I think a lot of us are just thinking, hey, the rates are going to keep going down forever. And that's actually not the case. TD Bank, Bank of Montreal have actually raised their interest rates as of yesterday. So when we're having conversations with families thinking, hey, rates are just going to keep going down, that's actually not what's happening when we look at the metrics. And that one metric that drives fixed interest rates is the Canada 5-year bond yield. So if you want to be able to speak, as a savvy real estate investor and speaking to your families, that's what you want to quote as to what's happening in the writing on the wall. So if they think that waiting until the spring is going to be more advantageous because rates are going to be lower, there's not assertion or any certainty in that ever coming to be. The other thing is what you want to look at is obviously the variable rates. So there's two buckets. There's the fixed rates driven by the bond yields and the variable rates that are driven by the Bank of Canada. So if we look at the Bank of Canada announcements, there's one in January, there's one in March. Okay. If we look at what drives interest rates to go down, interest rates go down when there's not enough consumer spending. What they're looking to do is to lower rates to encourage you to open up your wallet. So unfortunately, what happened during the holidays with the Liberals giving everybody that free 250, what that did is that actually encouraged additional spending. It actually allowed many of us to have a false sense of security to begin spending money again. GST holiday, as well as that extra 250, which we both know doesn't go very far. But when the Bank of Canada see that, they say, well, families have money, they're saving money, perhaps spending is naturally being increased, perhaps we don't need to lower interest rates. So there's a lot of speculation now that the Bank of Canada might be flat and not lower interest rates on the Bank of Canada announcement that's coming out in 2 weeks. So I think this just allows you to speak intelligently with your families and let them know, hey, waiting to spring, waiting for rates to go down and prices to go up is simply not a certainty. And as well, fixed rates have actually gone up. So to give you an understanding of what you can expect rates to be right now, a 5-year fixed rate is between 4% and 4.5%. That's where you would be able to qualify whether you're an insured purchaser with less than 20% down or have 20% down. 4 to 4.5 is right in that ballpark. And why I tell you that is because I have a mortgage app. I'm sure you've used online mortgage calculators. That's how you can begin to set expectations for monthly payments with your families. 4.25, 4.5 would not be far off from what they would achieve at the banks. Okay. And that's a fixed. If you're thinking of a variable, we know prime right now is 5.45. the discount that banks are offering off of prime is anywhere between a half a point to 3/4 of a point. So what that means is 475 to 5% is also what you could use to calculate variable rates in the marketplace. Okay. That kind of gives you a bit of a temperature check as to what's happening. So what we're doing right now is we're encouraging buyers to get a rate hold, like what's called a pre-approval and a rate hold. Why that's important, folks, is because if rates go up, if they've been pre-approved, their borrowing power goes down. Higher the rate, lower the budget. So if rates go up between now and spring, the clients that you have actively pre-approved, their budget will no longer be that maximum. And we want to protect that with a 120-day rate hold. So I think that would assist you in guiding your clients towards the best solution, interest rates, market trends, and also look at the 5-year Canada bond yield the second you start your day every day. That'll allow you to understand what's happening with the market.
Great, thank you. Philip, is 30 or 35 years amortization back, or?
30 years is back now for insured first-time home buyers and anyone with 20% down. So with that first-time home buyer new incentive, there was really two buckets. There's I'm buying insured with less than 20% down. The maximum amortization is still 25 years, but then the borrowing power or the purchase price goes up to 1.5. Don't confuse that 1.5 million and the 30-year am with every buyer. Only first-time home buyers get the 30-year amortization. Okay. And then anything past 30 years is typically reserved for non-traditional lending, B lending, private lending. But at the banks, they're going to stop at 30 years.
Okay. And I've heard that stress test that we had 2 times, one is gone. So is it easier for us to buy a house?
It is. Yeah, for sure. So think of the stress test as like a floating qualification metric based on the interest rate that your family is given. So that's why it's so important to have your clients shop for the lowest interest rate, lower the rate, lower the stress test, higher the qualification budget.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do you see the market ahead of us, 2025?
I think that it's going to be a very, very strong market for buyers. Like obviously the interest rates are about 1% to 1.5% lower than they were this time last year. I've already noticed a massive uptick of new buyers looking to get into the market. But I think even more importantly, and what I'm hoping that a lot of the realtors on this call are doing is really focusing around investors. Not the single transaction, but the ability to transact multiple times. And investors are finally coming back to the buying table. The cash flow is returned, and a lot of them realize the benefit in getting into the market now before home values begin to spike.
Sure. That makes sense. Well, thank you very much, Philip, for sharing with us the information about real estate,
For sure.
mortgage, and so on. We always need to up-to-date ourselves. What is the phone number just in case one of these agents like to reach you?
Yep. You know what? I'm actually just putting right now in the chat my Instagram page. I put out daily content on market trends, etc. So feel free to follow me there if anybody has any questions. And then that is my direct phone number. My first name is Mac. Feel free to call me, text me anytime, and we can address any concerns you have.
Okay, I appreciate that. You're more than welcome to stay or leave. That's fine. The following is going to be some information and study about real estate. So that might apply to you or might not. I think it applies, but your choice.
Yeah, I'll jump onto your YouTube page once it gets uploaded. I've got a busy morning. I'm out of my office. There's some construction going on in the house. So I will watch it on YouTube in a few days.
Sounds good. Excellent. Thank you for joining.
Pleasure. Thank you, everyone.
Excellent.
Okay, bye-bye.
So I'm going to share my screen with you. Just bear with me. Going back to, okay. So today we're going to talk about 5 things that we can do to increase our sales. And this is really, really, really going back to basic. That is forgotten for many agents. We have our default, wake up every day, every morning, every week. What should we do? We forget that we have those potential, I call it principles or law that we forget or we ignore. So let's start. Okay, so as you know, I have my YouTube, and anything that is recorded is going to go there. It's not only master classes, but there are sometimes other training that is happening and it's going there as well. So feel free to get in there. As you know, accountability calls every Monday, 8:30 to 9. Role play is for everyone. you can join. Is Monday at 9 o'clock, usually go to 9 to 9:30. That would help you with your role play script. You either on the phone or you call your past clients or you're knocking at doors, doesn't matter. You're going to practice the script. Master classes, it is on Thursday, today at 10, usually goes to 10:30. Sometimes the topic is extremely hot, can even go to 11. If you go to my site, there are some trainings I put for everyone there. They can use it. It's successfulrealtors.com. We have our WhatsApp for door knockers. You don't necessarily need to be door knockers if you don't want to be. As long as you need support, you want to learn new things, just be there, part of the group. The only thing that is discouraged to happen there is posting or advertising, marketing your listing. You stay away from that. This WhatsApp group is to support, help, inform in any possible ways. Accountability calls, I said it's on the morning, 8:30. Now I am getting calls and agents coming to my office talking about door knocking. As you know, for the last 20 years, I'm in real estate. I do door knocks all the time. There are a lot of confusions. There are a lot of doubts. There are a lot of hesitations. There are a lot of blocking mindset that's happening with all the agents. So I said, you know what, instead of all of you to drop by my office or give me a call every single day, asking the same questions, why don't we open this one to everyone and go in person or Zoom? So you can enroll in this classes that I'm offering. Is each session is only 3 hours and start from A to Z or Z and covers everything that you need to get into the market and start talking to people in your area or any area that you are targeting. So if you go back to that successfulrealtors.com, the link is in there. Okay, so what's happening with real estate and online activities and softwares and platform? I pull out 4 interesting sites for you. First one is sobrief.com. So write it down, sobrief.com. You go there, there is 73,530 books summarized there. So just type in the name of any book. Most of the times, 99% of the time, the book comes up with a summary for you, chapters by chapters, what it has. So it's kind of 1 or 2 pages. It's amazing, it's powerful. So you can use that one just before you decide to purchase a book. You can go and take a look at this summary of the book, and I find it extremely, extremely useful. The second one, these days, I go to ChatGPT and sometimes I go to deepseek.com. Apparently, this is built by Chinese, I don't know, but I found it very, very powerful, even more powerful than ChatGPT. I'm still using ChatGPT for creative things. It's amazing, and DeepSeek is not there yet, but DeepSeek is really, really expanding horizon if you're thinking about resources. So I strongly suggest you to also use deepseek.com as well. Bitly, many of you know what is Bitly, and Bitly is usually shorten your URL and also QR code creator. So the QR code that I have in Bitly, the good thing about it is keep track of how many people click on your QR code. I used to use Monkey, QR code Monkey, which is very handy, very fast, but it doesn't keep track of all the clicks, but bitly.com does. Ideogram.ai is another site that you can type and becomes an image. Now, if you look at the image I created there, the title, the prime was a realtor helping a mid-aged lady in showing a home. And bingo, that created very photorealistic image. So yes, there you can go and create your own image. If you're not comfortable with copywriting and those kind of things, just go there and put a clear prompt of what you want, and bingo, it gives you the pictures you want. And as far as I know, I'm using it for free, so it shouldn't be any problem for you either. Okay, next week we are going to talk about Google review. Believe it or not, anytime I have listening appointments, they already check my review. How many people is there? How many stars I got there? They go through reading. People are using Google to help them find the right agent. So you have to be there. You cannot ignore it anymore. It's extremely powerful. So I'm going to talk to you about how you can do that. Almost everything's free here. So you can use the style and technique I'm showing you next week for free. There is nothing there, and it's very, very easy. Everybody can do that. You cannot say I'm not computer savvy. So that's for next week. Okay, let's start for today. Promise to keep it short. We already 10:20. Now, of course, we know our business without our mind doesn't mean nothing. So as someone said, 90% of what we do happens first here. So let's work on here, learn the principles that we need to know, and get on with our business. As we know, every year is made of months and weeks and days. So what are we doing every day matters. Morning routine, prospecting routine, follow-up routine, negotiation, dealing with buyers and seller, learning new things, showings, admin work, everything you need up here to organize it. Now, principle number one, I came across this amazing book called Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. I strongly suggest you, recommend you to read it. He's talking about how you can narrow down and focus on the most essential things that you need to do. So direct to the point, don't go around the bushes, play game, wasting your time. Streamline marketing, sharp, attention-grabbing headlines. Don't wait months and months until people understand you, finding you. If you want call to action, just put your call to action. Focus prospecting instead of reaching everyone. So this is a recommendation for branding and marketing as well. Instead of saying, I'm a real estate agent that helps you to buy and sell, big deal. Everybody's our real estate agents helping buying and selling. What is your unique selling proposition? So focus on that one. That's important. Let's say, for instance, I'm specializing in first-time home buyers in Toronto. I'm specializing in condo movers. Selling your condo, I'm doing it all the time. You can say I'm specializing in downsizers. Next principle is Pygmalion effect. That is basically telling that higher expectation leads to improved performance in individual. Higher you demand things from yourself would keep you in a better shape. Setting high but realistic prospecting goals is one of them. High personal and professional standard. Believing in your own ability, raise up the bars on your standard. For instance, if you are dressing casual, go see a client, think, let me upgrade the way I dress. Let me upgrade the way I talk. For instance, every Monday morning at 9 o'clock, we have role play. That is upgrading. That is pushing us higher to a different bar to perform better. The way we show, the way we talk is the way people would make a judgment and they can trust you and they work with you. Get yourself knowledgeable with whatever is in the market. Don't wake up and spend a lousy day. Take it easy on everything that you have in real estate. Take it easy if you are in vacation. Next one is snowball effect. This is very powerful. Basically, it's building up gradually, continuous action, building a client base day at a time. You can usually it's very hard to sit down one day and put 300 people in your database. So if you do that, then continuously on the daily basis, keep adding, keep adding, keep adding, keep adding. Leverage social media, proof, consistent marketing effort. You cannot put your ad, your video on Instagram and let it go for 2-3 weeks. It's building up, and that's how people see you every day. That's the effect we see in billboards. Every city, every highway you go, there is a big billboard, and you can see people there all the time. Some of the agents are using their for sale signs front of the house. Doesn't matter what the price they get. I know their stories, but I talk to other people who are willing to sell. So listen, this guy's science is everywhere. That's true, but there is something behind it. Follow-up system. You have to continuously be on the ball. You cannot, as a typical agent, go extremely strong in your marketing and calling, prospecting, and then drop that down because you got busy with 2, 3 offers and you let everything goes. No, it's a build-up. Cause and effect. I read this great book called Good to Great. It's talking about the same thing. Anything you do, you would see the effect of it. If you sleep at home and doing nothing, nothing is going to happen. If you continuously on the road and meeting people, networking, things would happen. Sometimes it takes longer, sometimes it takes shorter time. You put time to follow up, network with prospect, and use affirmation every day. Bandwagon effect. I read this book, is amazing book, Thinking Fast and Slow. The tendency for people to adapt certain behaviors and trends because other people are doing it. You have to really watch this one. Stay away from negative agents. I remember back when I was working with my previous brokerage. On the 3rd floor, we had a coffee area for agents. Every single morning between 8:30 to 9:30, these 2 agents were standing there talking negative about anything happening in the market. It doesn't matter what. They were standing there and they were talking negative about that talk, that negotiation, that direction, that decision, that news every single morning. So I guarantee you sit down there and listen to them, you come back home depressed and you don't want to work anymore because there is no hope. But associate with successful people. You hang around successful people. I've seen that in myself. I go to a camping with 5 aggressive business people. I get inspired. I come back, I'm all excited. I want to go. Why? Because the things they said there, the model I see in front of me work in my brain. Doing the activities that brings result. Always do something positive. Even reading a positive book, talking to some people who would encourage you. That's very crucial. That's very important. So these are the 5 principles that we need to, we have it, we know, but sometimes we ignore it. So the lesson for us here is people are influenced by what others are doing. That's a role model. High expectation leads to improved performance. People who are agents who are paying the price of going to different trainings, role play, learning new things, talking to different people, always improve themselves. Small, consistent actions compound over time, leading to significant result. It doesn't matter. You spend half an hour every day or 1 hour every day, regardless, you bring result or not, you have to be at the door knocking. That's going to create result. I always bring this example. I said, if you work for a bank and you see it's a storm outside, it's raining, it's slow, the market is down, you're not questioning, should I go to the bank? My shift start from 9 to 5. No one's going to come. You never ask that question. You always go. Okay. Same thing for real estate, because it's your business. You don't have a boss. It doesn't mean you should give it up. Create a routine for yourself every single day and be faithful. Just do it. Whether it's reading a book, whether you wake up in the morning exercising, whether you write or read your affirmation, whether you make your follow-up call, it doesn't matter. Dedicate certain hours to that and do the job. It would bring you the result. It might not happen same day, but I'm in business for 20 years and I've seen the result. So if it has result for me, it has result for many of us. Your action, decision, and strategy lead to a specific outcome. It's impossible that you do things for a few months and you get no result. Focus on what is essential. I have people calling, said, we don't bring any result. But then when I check, I know they are doing the things that is not necessary to do. I was going at the door, I was checking the name of each individual's homeowner in Joe Warehouse to know who they are. Sometimes I would have copy paste the name into Google to make sure they are not real estate agent. I wasted hours out of fears, out of ignorance, just doing the things that were not essential. Essential things, you grab your material, you start going knocking at doors or making the call. Who cares? Just dedicate to your prospecting, dedicate to your follow-up, and that will bring you results. That is the end of today's session. Any question for me?
Good morning, Ashton. I just wanted to comment on that book, Atomic Habits. I'm reading it now, and it is excellent.
Amazing. And what did you learn in that few first chapter you read it?
So far, I'm about halfway through the book, but you could see how just the things that you were saying are so true that you got to have it's habits could be small, but they're compounded. They add up, and if they're good habits, sooner or later you gotta it'll happen.
That's true. I appreciate that. There is a movement. There is a book started called Morning Miracles. This guy, if I remember properly, there's a book. I don't remember the name of it, but this guy got into a car accident. Long story short, start waking up at 5 o'clock morning, and that changed his life forever. Then he started writing down his story. Then he started his own Miracle Morning Club. And it said between 5 to 7, there are so much you can do that will transform your life. So there is a wisdom in whatever people are doing and saying. So I'm not saying everything is good for everybody. You might be amazing to wake up at 5 o'clock. You might be amazing and doing certain habits. It might not, but you have to adapt it to yourself. Just pick something good, something productive for the rest of 2025. Something you never done last year, you were hesitant, and this year you said, you know what? Hell with it. I'm going to do that regardless of what people say, regardless of the hardship I'm going to go through, regardless if it's cost me a little bit money. I want to do something weird. I want to sign for a taekwondo class. I want to go sailing. I want to do biking. Just do something different. I want to dedicate my weeks to read one book a week. See what's going to happen. And of course, you write it down, your notes. I am so afraid of cold calling, but just to prove myself, I'm going to do something different than last year. Just this week, I'm going to call 10 people every single day or knock at 10 doors this year. I've never done that before. I went door knocking 10 years ago. I was so freaked out. But you know what? If you need help, just grab someone from your office and can you come with me for next 3 days? 1 hour, we're going to go see people in our community. The way you define the actions you do would determine the way you see the world. If you go there and I had conversation with other agents, they said, if someone come at my door as an agent, if someone come at my door, I would slam the door at their face. I would give them hard time. I want to buy a house. I go online. I said, well, you know what? That's the way you think. So don't go at the door or don't answer the phone, pick up the phone, making cold calls and defining or creating a conversation on their behalf. All right. So when you go at the doors and I'm talking to my people's community, I'm just wanted to introduce myself. Never ever say I'm there to bug them. I'm there to harass them. What position do I have here? Why I'm bothering people? What the hell I'm doing in this world? Why? All the negative things. But redefine things when you go prospecting or following up. Why am I calling this guy every month? He's sick and tired of me. That's not true. You are there to open the arms. And do you know how many people I knock at the doors? They're so happy that they could talk to someone.
Yeah.
I might be one of the odd person that door knocked during the whole time of COVID-19, except the period that we had red, no one could go. When it was yellow, I was there knocking at doors, leave my cart on the chair, step back 2 meters. They were happy to open the door. So don't talk on their behalf. You don't know what's happening in their mind. So just do your homework, do the things that you're dedicated to do, take action. This is your job. You have no choice. No one invited you to this business. You did it yourself. If you don't like it, just leave. But if you want to do it, this is what you have to do. Talk to people. Mike Ferry published a book a long time ago. He said, How to Be Successful in Real Estate. Every single page has few words. Talk to people. Next page, talk. The entire book was empty. Just every single page said, talk to people, talk to people, talk to people. And few people bought the book. But this is real estate, talking to people. Don't hide behind your computer. Don't hide behind your fears. Just get into the business and make 2025 a different year for yourself, because you can do it. It's all here. Any question? It was a pleasure talking to you and see some new faces. Remember to come back next week on Thursday. If you have any questions, you have my number, 647-407-4049. I will be more than happy to chit chat with you. All the best and see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.